It is our honor and pleasure to work with you in this way at this time. We would begin by suggesting that you take a moment to receive the light we would offer to you now. Just breathe. And as you breathe, just let go of everything but this moment. Center yourself, your mind, your energy in this moment. Find peace in this moment. Feel love in this moment. Be empowered by the light of God in this moment. Be healed in this moment. Let go in this moment. So, in this moment, feel yourself and experience yourself being embraced by the healing love of God. Feel this love enveloping you and breathe it in. Work with the thought form, I am embraced by the healing love of God. Just breathe this in. I am embraced by the healing love of God. Just breathe this in. Now imagine that you feel this embrace. Imagine that this embrace is warm and comforting. Just breathe this in, feeling the comfort, the peace, and the protection of God's loving embrace. Good. And just let go as if you are embraced in a cocoon of loving, healing grace. And with each breath, you are filled with even more of this loving, healing light and grace in which you are cocooned. And just breathe. And just breathe. Now, this cocoon that surrounds you, imagine that this cocoon is somewhat like a very large garment bag, somewhat like the garment bags that might hold a very large wedding gown. But imagine this garment bag is the cocoon around you and feel it unzipping. From the crown, it unzips. Down through your third eye, the cocoon unzips. Down to your throat, the cocoon unzips. Down to your heart, the cocoon unzips. Through your solar plexus, the cocoon unzips. Through your sacral area, the cocoon unzips. Through your root and down. And the light of God that you are is allowed to billow out in the same way that a wedding gown in a garment bag, when unzipped, will billow out. Feel your energy expanding at one with the light of God. Feel your energy expanding at one with the light of God. Feel your energy expanding at one with the light of God. And know, as it feels as if you are floating in space, know that you are floating in the light of God. Your consciousness is at one with the God consciousness. Your consciousness is at one with the God consciousness. Your consciousness is at one with the God consciousness. And breathe this in. Good. And we would teach you something and, in truth, remind you of something that may have seemed to be intellectual or esoteric before. But we would now ingrain this into the depths of your energy. For when you are in this state, you are at one with the creative will of God to create for you its expression, all the joy you desire. So breathe, and as you float in the light, in the love, in the grace, in the peace, in the healing ocean of God's love, know that you are at one with God. You are at one with the creative will of God to create your heart's desires. For God wills that you have and experience your heart's desires. For your heart's desires are God's heart's desires. For God wills your happiness. Just breathe this in. And if you choose, as you breathe this in, you may work with the following thought form. I am at one with the creative will of God that wills my heart's desire for happiness and fulfillment and joy. I am at one with the creative will of God that wills my happiness, my fulfillment, and my joy. I am at one with the creative will of God that wills my happiness, my fulfillment, and my joy. Just breathe this in and allow yourself to marinate in this energy of oneness with the creative will of God that wills your happiness, fulfillment, and joy. God wants what you want: happiness, fulfillment, and joy. Breathe this in. So now you ask the creative will of God, pour into me, God. Remind me, God. Cause me to know, God, your will for my happiness, fulfillment, and joy. Pour into me, God. Cause me to know, God, and remind me, God, of your will for my happiness, fulfillment, and joy. And see what existing memories, experiences, or analogs already remind you of the happiness, fulfillment, and joy that you desire. Despite what your human ego sees as a challenging life path, you have had glimpses of the heaven you desire. Bring those forward in the energy of this moment and present them to God that they may be magnified. An image of yourself as you have experienced professional fulfillment or relationship fulfillment or family fulfillment or physical fulfillment or spiritual fulfillment. Gather from your energy and consciousness the pine cones of happiness, joy, and fulfillment that you have experienced on earth thus far. Imagine that these memories and energies start flooding into your mind, and you gather them like pine cones, putting them into a basket. And imagine that you bring them to the altar, placing them on the altar, that God might magnify them. Imagine bringing them to the altar, placing them on the altar, that God might magnify them. They may have simply been glimpses into the life you could lead, glimpses into the happiness, joy, peace, or fulfillment you can achieve. Place them on the altar, that the creative power and energy with which you are one can magnify them. Now, And if you choose, hold the energy of one of these memories in your hand, if you choose. Feel the energy of this memory. Feel the grace, the power, and the healing of this moment that you hold in your hand. And release it to God with the idea, God, I release this to you, that you might magnify it, amplify it, and return it to me tenfold. God, I release this to the creative will, that you might magnify it, amplify it, and return it to me tenfold. God, I release this to your creative will, that you might magnify it, amplify it, return it to me tenfold. And feel the energy in your hands expanding in the same way that the energy would expand as you feel energy within your hands growing. Feel the expansion of this energetic vibration. Feel the expansion of this feeling in this energy current. Feel the expansion of your joy and your fulfillment in this moment. Feel the expansion of this until this energy simply becomes you. Allow yourself to become enveloped in, enmeshed in the vibratory energy of this idea as it has grown with the creative will of God. Just as a pine cone may seed a mighty evergreen, the pine cone of your existing experience has seeded a vast energetic expansion of the potential that was already proven by your experience. And just let this go, allowing the creative will of God to continue to pour this through each of your energy centers. And just allow yourself to be immersed in this energetic vibration. And just breathe this in. Just breathe this in.